Hi, good morning. It's almost afternoon. I got so involved in planting because I was just so excited to finally be able to plant seeds that I just got into it today and I forgot to record it. So as I'm going along in between these pomegranate trees, planting lupinus flowers, they're these flowers. They're very pretty flowers, and their seeds are edible. So that's going to be interesting, and I thought that they would be very pretty here among the pomegranate trees, especially since the pomegranate trees somewhat lose their leaves over the winter. So I'm digging along, I'm going in under, and those of you who are with me from the very beginning, do you remember how difficult it was to do anything with this ground? I want you to see this. Look at this. Look at this. I did nothing to it. I did nothing to this ground. I did nothing. Nothing. I added nothing. There are little buggies in here. There are little things. You see these sticks? See these sticks? Do you see this dried up grass? That's all I put in there. I just covered it with sticks and dried up grass, essentially making compost. Another thing I did is I watered it regularly so that these wild grasses would grow. And it's a weed, but it's a weed that actually produces soil. So I let that grow. But look at this. Do you see this? This is amazing. It only goes down a couple of inches before it starts to get hard again, but my goodness, I couldn't do this a year ago. This is amazing. So I'm able to just scrape the top away, and sprinkle the seeds in, because I like sprinkling them in. And then just cover it again. And that's it. And that's how I plant. It's so easy. And now they're all covered, and then I just cover them with the sticks again. And that's it. That is incredible. So I'm going to continue along the row here. But you know what? I'm going to take you and show you what the dirt looked like a year ago. I'm on the other side of the fence. See, just over here is where you just saw me, and now this is on the other side of the fence. I'm going to show you the ground that has not been worked. So it rained last night, so the ground should be a little bit easier than normal, but still, look at this. It's really hard. Digging through here is really hard. Do you hear that? And that's not a rock. The ground here is like concrete. Now I can keep doing this all day, and I'll scrape a little bit. Now, in order for me to have dug any holes for my trees, just enough to put a little indentation, I had to put water. Took a while to soak in, and then I could scrape out a little bit, and then I added more water, scraped in a little bit, and that's how I dug the holes. But also, look at the color. It's this tan color, and it feels more like sand. Well, not really. It's not as gritty as sand, but it's like a powder. It's really weird. It doesn't feel like soil. If you look in here, there are no buggies. There's nothing. It's, you know, there's nothing here. I'm going to go back in and show you another area of interest where you can see a major difference in the soil. Really, just due to putting down weeds, dead grass, twigs, things like that. Look at this. I don't even need the scraper. Look at that. You see the color of that? That is dark brown, and it smells really good. This is it. This is just broken down weeds and, you know, twigs, little branches, things like that. And this is my mulch over the summer, and now it's winter time, and it is beautiful, beautiful soil. No amendments necessary. You don't have to add all kinds of crazy stuff. You just don't. You don't have to go out and buy so many things. Just take the weeds you don't want. Chop them at ground level. Don't pull them up by the roots, because that's ruining an ecosystem underground. Just chop them at the ground level. Lay them down. Mix them with twigs. If you don't have twigs, fine, it doesn't matter. Just lay the weeds down in a pile. There's no need for you to buy compost. You can make it. There's no need for you to buy soil. You can turn what you already have at your house or your garden or whatever. It doesn't matter. You can turn it into soil. You don't have to buy. And in fact, this is better soil. And if I dug down in here even further, I would find all kinds of buggies, but I see no reason why I need to disturb the soil at the moment. But you create an ecosystem under there just by providing the right conditions. The dirt that you see that looks dead or won't grow anything, it's just missing water. It's missing care. It's missing shade. It's missing the minerals and things that the weeds could provide it with. Everything that grows out of the ground, the green part that you see, contains minerals, vitamins, enzymes, all kinds of things. And when you chop it at ground level and you put it back into the ground, those minerals, vitamins, enzymes, etc., all of that fungi, bacteria, whatever, becomes available to the economy under the ground. And that is how you really create soil. Not by going out and buying lime and all kinds of other amendments. You don't need that. You just need to use what you have. Anyway, I gotta get back to my planting. It's so enjoyable. In comparison to last year, having to scrape and work, I don't feel like I'm working today. I'm really enjoying my planting. I finished planting the lupins, and as I completed it, I realized, you know, here it is. I'm always telling you guys, you don't need to buy anything. You don't need to add inputs. All you need is to create your own soil using the resources that you have. And I got to thinking about that, how we have been so ingrained with marketing. You know, we go into the gardening section of the department store, or into the nursery, the garden center, and there are so many products. And honestly, we're all victims of marketing. Maybe a large-scale farmer would need lime because he's just pulling nutrients out of the ground every season, and he needs to, faster than the ground can replenish, and he has to replenish them. But for the average gardener, you don't need to add anything, and we're not pulling nutrients out like farmers are. Especially if you allow the weeds to grow around. Some people will say, oh, well, that's ugly, it's not pretty. Well, I think it depends on where you're at. And, weeds is green. Weeds can take a dry area and make it look luscious. Now, what I say about weeds is, if you don't want weeds there, then plant the things you do want. If you don't want weeds to grow up in an area, plant what you do want there. care for what you do want there. Cultivate what you do want there, and then you won't have a weed problem. In the meantime, those weeds could be very helpful and very beneficial to you for building up the soil, for shading the soil, for creating an ecosystem under the ground. That ecosystem is so important. You know, we have an ecosystem above ground, we have an ecosystem below ground, we have an ecosystem in the water. I'm actually, knowing that, I'm pretty convinced we have an ecosystem in the sky as well. Don't know what it is. We haven't done that much research on it for us to understand, but I'm pretty certain that there's an ecosystem everywhere in this world. And we as people are victims of marketing. We're victims of constant advertisement. We are victims of fear-mongering. We are victims of, you know, you got to do it this way or you can't grow. Or, you know, oh, you're depleting the nutrition out of the soil. You can't grow too many things there. You're depleting the nutrition. That's a nice marketing tool, this fear-mongering. Making gardeners believe that they have to replenish what they've taken out by eating vegetables from their garden. By having a garden, we're actually putting nutrition into the ground. It's the exact opposite of what we've been taught. And that's only because the people who have taught us these things want to sell us a product. So it's really important to remember that everything you need is right there. You have a yard, you've got everything. I mean, unless your yard is concrete, unless your yard is just devoid of anything green, you have everything you need in order to make a good garden without having to buy amendments. I know, I did that here. Not only did I not have the money to buy amendments, but a lot of the amendments that you would find overseas are not found in Israel. But more than that, I wanted to do things naturally. And wow, I did. It's green. My little area is green. I've been growing food. I've been growing spices. My trees are growing beautifully. Albeit my things are growing slightly less fast than they would otherwise be growing, but that's because I'm not overwatering and I'm giving the ground a chance to heal itself. I'm giving the ground a chance to do what it needs to do on its own time. And honestly, it hasn't taken very much. I mean, it took me about 3 months in order to get my little 200 square meter plot looking green. And it has stayed green throughout the entire summer. And things are growing beautifully. I have insects here that I didn't have before. There are birds coming to land on my trees that wouldn't have a place to land. I mean, they would have over there and they would have over there. But here they've got a place to land, and I've given them a little pond for water. And it's just a very nice area. And I didn't do that through amendment, and I didn't do it through tearing up the ground, flattening everything, you know, taking off topsoil, redoing it. No. I actually did the opposite. I just left everything as it was, cut the grass, left it where it was. Well, grass, I mean that stuff. It's like some sort of a wild grass. But I just cut it and left it where it was in order to shade the ground. That's all I did. You know, when I pruned my trees or, you know, cut back bushes, I just laid them on the ground where I knew that I wanted to plant things. I just put those things there where I wanted to plant this season. And I have nice soil to plant in. Not only that, but around my trees, I have grasses and wild weeds and A lot of them are edible. And there's soil there that wasn't before. And what created that soil? It was the weeds, the grasses, the tree roots. All of these things come together. They create an economy, and that economy builds soil. That's for the closest analogy, soil is the GDP of all the weeds and everything that grows around our plants. So I really, really recommend stop using all the amendments. Stop spending money where you don't need to. Build up your soil naturally. It doesn't take very long. It really doesn't take very long. I was able to build up enough soil within a couple of months to plant what I wanted, and now a year later, I've got soil here. I can plant anything, anywhere I want on my little plot, and I added nothing. I just covered it with the weeds that we have already. So please take that into consideration. We can build soil. It doesn't take 100 years. It doesn't take 1,000 years. We can replenish everything just by managing the resources that we have and managing them naturally. Okay, I'm going to stop my little rant now. I just wanted to share those thoughts. Until next time.